you and the group a little bit more about how the banking aspect really supports the initiatives of North Carolina Housing Table. PNC Bank is very involved in the community and specifically around the affordable housing component. And I know that that's something that is going to be really heavily focused on in legislation, particularly in this area where housing is especially out of reach for a lot of people. So I wanted to take the time this afternoon to focus specifically on what PNC offers in terms of affordable housing and programs around helping people in some of the low to moderate income um, sectors afford their first homes. So I'm going to try to share my screen. If someone could give me a thumbs up or let me know when you can see it. Thanks, Denzel. That is not what I'm trying to share. Bear with me, y'all. I'm sorry. Are you seeing finding the solutions?
Yes, we are.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So, starting about the PNC solutions for affordable lending, wanted to kind of jump right in and share with you what we do have, the full product suite. First of all, this is my contact information. On the right is the QR code that will take you directly to my website. This not only gives you my contact information, but also there are mortgage tools and mortgage calculators there that will help first-time home buyers or anyone in the buying market calculate kind of how much home they can afford, what would the monthly payment be. They can take a look at where interest rates are, rent versus buy, a lot of different tools that are there to assist them with educating themselves even before reaching out to a mortgage loan officer. There's also a link on my website where clients can directly start the process to apply for a preliminary pre-approval. So I wanted to share that contact information with everyone. So let's dive into the products and programs that PNC offers. PNC has a full suite of mortgage options. We offer the conventional mortgages, both fixed and adjustable rates, jumbo or portfolio mortgages. Jumbo's mortgage, any mortgage over 806,500 is considered jumbo. And of course, we have the government-backed loans such as FHA, VA, and some specialized lending for rural development, USDA, and even a portfolio product that PNC offers the PNC community. We'll dive into that a little bit later. Starting with rural housing or the USDA. This is a mortgage program that is specifically drives home buying ownership in rural areas. This is an attractive offer for anyone who's thinking about they want to be out of the metropolitan area. There is 100% financing. There's no down payment required. There's no PMI. It has to be considered your primary residence. And the closing cost relative to conventional and other mortgages is very, very affordable. For anyone who's interested in rural housing, which I'm actually getting quite a few more and more people that are looking to buy out outside of the main area, there's a website that you can access that actually will tell you if a particular property is eligible for the USDA program. Then FHA. Most of the population's familiar with FHA. A lot of people believe that that's the best way or the only way as a first-time home buyer. Not necessarily, but FHA is a very attractive loan program because it does have some flexibility in underwriting. Because it is a government-backed program, the minimum down payment is 3.5%. The credit score is forgiving, so the minimum credit score could be as low as 600. The PMI or private mortgage insurance tends to be lower for an FHA than it would be on a conventional loan. And for those of you who are not as familiar with private mortgage insurance, that is the insurance premium that is a part of the monthly mortgage payment if the home buyer puts less than 20% down. That premium protects the lender in the event of default, but it's paid by the homeowner. So PMI is actually underwritten in the same fashion that the loan application is. So the better your credit, the stronger your FICO score, the more down payment you have, the more or the less expensive, I should say, your private mortgage insurance would be, and even more so with an FHA loan. We also offer the VA loan, which is the loan designed for current military or retired military. This is another attractive option for 100% financing. The interest rates also tend to be lower than conventional. It's not PMI per se, but there is a funding fee and there is actually a monthly component. It's similar to PMI that works in the same fashion, but tends to be less than conventional PMI with VA. So the PNC Community Loan, this is a portfolio loan that we offer that is it's kind of the hallmark of our affordable lending solutions. There is no private mortgage insurance. The standard interest rate is a fixed rate, no adjustable rate mortgages available for the community. You have flexible options on what is allowable for your down payment. It's a minimum down payment of 3%. So compared to FHA, which is 3.5%, this is a program that allows you to put less cash down. And only 1% of that down payment has to be from the home buyer specifically. The other 2% can come from a number of sources, including gifts from family relatives or even community seconds. But this is an excellent program because it does allow for anyone that's shopping who doesn't have a significant amount to put down. There's 100% down payment. I'm sorry, 100% financing with no PMI. Two of the other loans, and this is a Fannie and Freddie back loans that are optional. We offer at PNC is the Home Possible. It is designed for low to moderate income borrowers. There is an income limit that they must qualify for based on the county that the property address is in. So Home Possible minimum down payment is 3%. You can do fixed or adjustable rate. The PMI tends to be lower than conventional. And Home Possible is the Freddie Mac version of this LMI affordable program. Home Ready is a Fannie Mae program. It's very similar, almost identical. Fixed or adjustable rate mortgages, 3% down. Interest rates tend to be lower, and the PMI is also more affordable. The PNC down payment assistance programs work fabulously hand in hand with the Home Possible and the Home Ready. It's not restricted to just those programs, but just to give you an idea, this is the PNC grant that we offer. This is literally free money. This is not a second mortgage. It's not a blind second. There's not, it's forgivable over so many years. This is literally a free grant, and it can range anywhere from $2,500 up to $15,000, depending on the income range or the property address. So if the property is in a participating county and the property census tract is low to moderate income, and those census tracts were just updated, or the low to moderate income adjustments have just been made, and I'll go through those, then this property, regardless of the purchase price, qualifies for the $5,000 to $15,000 PNC grant. That goes a long way for someone who has limited funds for down payment, limited funds for closing costs. Those monies can even be used to buy the rate down. So just to give you an idea of what the qualifications are, even if the property itself is not in a census tract for low to moderate income, what the buyer's income would be if they qualify. For Wake County and Johnston County, the income limit is $106,160. So anyone looking to purchase a home, the individual, or if it's a joint application, the joint application income, as long as it doesn't exceed $106,160, they qualify for the $3,000 in Wake County and Johnston County PNC grant. Now, Chapel Hill, Chatham County, Durham, and Orange County, the income limit is $98,320. So that really encompasses a lot of people that could potentially qualify for this program for the PNC grant. At least they would get $3,000, but up to $15,000 depending on the property address. So thank you for your time, and I certainly hope that this information, you found this to be valuable and how it can really support your initiatives at North Carolina Housing Table. Again, this is my QR code, takes you directly to my website where the tools and calculators are for home buyers, as well as my contact information and the link to start an application for a mortgage. I certainly hope if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to work with you. Denzel, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Nicola. I'm going to ask everybody, of course, to hold all questions. You can put them in the chat if you like. I want to make sure I give Michael an opportunity to go ahead and make his presentation as well. And then we should have some time towards the end to go over if there's any questions. As I said, we at North Carolina Housing Table recognize that in all of our conversations, we weren't thoroughly aware of what's available in the lending and banking community. And so we wanted to start doing a series to better address and inform policymakers of what's available and how we can better address policy in this. So this has been extremely educational. Thank you, Nicola. So now, Michael, I didn't know if you had a slide deck or a presentation.
Nope. Nope, it's just me and my bald head. I'll take I'll take about 10 minutes of your time, but thanks so much for the opportunity first. And Nicola did a great job. When talking about the role that financial partners play in expanding, access to the housing across the state, I kind of thought in three main components. The first is what Nicola just did an excellent job at describing, which it's providing access, not only providing access to lending products and solutions and programs that service all segments of the community, right, through the agencies, which she just highlighted, right, FHA, VA, USDA, North Carolina Housing, and of course, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. But it's also, private institutions like Pinnacle Financial Partners and PNC that develop their own loan programs that enhance or maybe, even fill in some of the gaps. Every program, not any singular program are going to fulfill everyone's needs. And that's the reason you have those various programs to fit different needs of the community. A couple of things I wanted to touch on is that it's one of the things that's reassuring is the continual development of these products, right? Over the past 15, 20 years, you've seen a significant amount of growth and diversity of the products offerings that are available to home buyers, particularly when you talk about, growing home ownership, first-time home buyers. Today, there's more options than there ever have been, before. And then when you start talking about possibly underserved, portions of the community, whether that's low and moderate income borrowers or majority minority census tracts, each one of those, there's a lot of programs today that didn't exist before. Just touch a little bit on two programs, or one program that Nicola mentioned, and kind of give you a better feel for, how the agencies are supporting Home Ready and Home Possible. She had mentioned that, and she went over some of the program parameters. It's got a loan down payment, of 3% associated with it. You can use down payment assistance programs with it. But also one of the main things that the agencies have done with that program is they took out the loan level pricing adjustments on that program. And what that means to the everyday client or consumer is that if you're a lower moderate income borrower, you just get a better interest rate, right? So those loan level pricing adjustments, by taking those out of those programs, and there's actually a new program called Duty to Serve that's specifically targeted some majority minority census tracts, it also takes out those same loan level pricing adjustments. So someone that is looking in that area is going to get a better interest rate. So there's definitely been a growth in the industry and a continual focus and development of those products. Of course, I couldn't get off this call without recognizing North Carolina Housing Finance Agency for the excellent work they do and the excellent suite of programs that they provide. But, so there's a wealth of products and solutions out there today. That's the good news. The second thing that, we play is exactly also what Nicola did, which, providing specialists, professionals that understand these programs and can help clients find those solutions. And not only in individual solutions, oftentimes you're stacking these solutions, particularly when you're talking about first-time home buyers or potentially low and moderate income borrowers. A lot of municipalities today have down payment assistance programs as well. North Carolina Housing offers their program that has a down payment assistance. Pinnacle, similar to PNC, not only has a low down payment, zero down payment product offering that we have on our portfolio and our down payment assistance, but where you can really have some power in that is when you find a specialist that understands those programs, you can actually stack those programs. So you could do a North Carolina Housing Finance Agency program with their $15,000 down payment assistance program, or their CPLP program, which is focused on, household income below 80%. You can actually, and maybe even throw in there a municipal down payment assistance program on top of it. And so by stacking those programs, by finding a professional that understands those programs, they can really help make a significant impact on the affordability of housing for those individuals. So, that's kind of the second thing that financial partners do, is that, we provide, a group of professionals that understand and how to work together with these programs. And then that kind of brings me to the final point, which is probably the most important point, and it's kind of where Nicola, started her presentation, is the educational aspect of it, right? We spend a lot of time educating potential homeowners in our communities, whether that's, with joint partnerships with realtors or builders, or maybe we're doing individual home buying seminars, whether it's in conjunction with a local down payment assistance program, or maybe we're doing it just locally at our financial institutions to broaden the awareness and just ensure that people understand that the dream of home ownership is much more attainable today. I mean, it's kind of duality, right? I mean, with the where interest rates are and with the continual increase in housing prices, it's possibly the affordable housing crisis is real, right? In every community that we touch, but at the same time, there's more tools and products available in today's environment than there ever have been before. So it's really being able to, number one, get that community outreach, make people aware that the dream of own home ownership is a reality that they can accomplish, and then getting them in touch with a professional that knows how to work with those programs. So that was pretty much my talking points. I appreciate the opportunity and time, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate you at Pinnacle. I appreciate you, Nicola, as well. Now, the floor is open. If anyone has any questions, I see some folks that put questions in the chat, but it might be something a little bit more specific or you want to ask. Feel free. Like I said, we will be doing this banking and housing series. We're hoping to probably bring in the insurance community as well, because that's a major conversation, especially given that we might have a looming hurricane off the East Coast. So we're trying to make sure for us, this is an internal research project that we're aware of all of the possibilities of how to help folks and also articulate. I want to make this clear. The North Carolina Housing Table is specifically focused on trying to create and draft and push great policy, but we can't do that without understanding where our blind spots are. And so this is why we do these webinar series and also bringing some of our partners and our friends here. So if anyone has a question, I see Jen Truman here, my good friend over at City Builder. I see some other folks in the room. If you have any questions, I know there's some developer folks in the room. I saw a question go in the chat about new construction and multifamily. I saw Nicola respond to it. The floor is open. All right. Guess everybody is quiet.
Well, there was a couple of questions I can jump in there and answer real quick.
Sure,
One, I think it was from Robert Booth, said, do these loan products apply to new construction or multifamily homes? So their owner occupancy, right, is what they're really looking for in most of these loan programs that we're touching on today, right? Of course, there's, commercial lenders out there that, can help investor-related multifamily homes, but the programs that both Nicola and I were talking to, even though they may allow for a 2 to 4 unit dwelling, the requirement is that one of those units would be primary residence owner occupied. Yeah, so most of the programs that we're talking about today are owner occupied primary residences.
Appreciate it. Nicola, feel free to answer as well. You both are the specialists. I saw another question. Thank you, Jen. I figured that question would come from you. My friend Jen Truman wrote, I'm curious to hear more about the financing options, not just for home buyers, but also for small and local builders as well. Do you all have an answer for that?
So the PNC mortgage, we focus on residential financing. We do have a commercial area that would be looking at any builder financing, and that's specific and unique to them. I'm not able to speak on what they're able to do, but my specialty is residential, owner occupied, or even investment or second homes from on the residential side. I did want to answer a question I saw someone asked about any consensus for borrowers over the age of 60. So there is no age discrimination in mortgage. Your application is going to be evaluated based on the standard underwriting criteria. So that's going to be your FICO score, your loan to value, your debt ratios, etc. There's no consideration for age one way or the other. I will tell you that if you're asking specifically around source of income, such as Social Security or pension or asset-driven income, all of those income sources are eligible to qualify for the mortgage, but no consideration based on age.
Thank you. Michael, did you want to add anything before I go to the next question? Okay. The next question I saw was, can you talk about the pending speculation that there may be a reduction in interest rate? What are your thoughts on how that will affect the mortgage rates and the ability for more people to be able to purchase a home? Anyone can take that.
Well, I'll jump in there and take that one. So yeah, recently there's been conversation about the Fed easing interest rates, right? And which is not directly correlated to the mortgage-backed securities market. Our interest rates are based on basically bond issuances, where the mortgages are accumulated, sold into tranches, and then sold off. So it's a little bit separate, but it typically does follow the U.S. Treasury, 10-1. And, as the Fed eases interest rates, that typically may have a positive impact on that. I say the mortgage prayer every night, lower interest rates, are good for everyone. But but prior to this most recent discussion, the Mortgage Bankers Association of America was actually expecting to be flat to marginally improving through the end of 26. I haven't seen a revision since this most recent, because it's fairly recent where the Fed started really talking about, easing in the fourth quarter of this year. So, but, obviously, traditionally 6.5%, mid sixes where we are is the historic average where we are. Housing is affordable at this rate, but obviously, lower interest rates has a material impact on people's ability to afford homes. But we're hoping so.
We hope so. I see another question. It says, what about people who can't afford transition from their starter homes to free up lower cost inventory, but who have been unable to move because of costs? Are there programs applicable to those persons?
I'll take that one. So the PNC grant actually is a program that will assist with just that. So if your plan is to upgrade from your first home to your second home, you can actually use the PNC grant for your second home or your third home. It's also available for refinancing your existing home. So what statistics show that the challenge that most first-time home buyers are really faced with is the down payment. So I saw that Sharita, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, specifically asked about, well, the payment itself could be unaffordable. If we didn't learn anything from 2008, we did learn that we are going to underwrite based on what is affordable. We're not going to let you get yourself in a position where your income does not support you living comfortably in this home. The sweet spot is 45%, including your existing debt plus your new proposed monthly mortgage payment. So we're going to, as specialists, my responsibility is to have that conversation with you, where a lot of people qualify for far more than they're comfortable with. I focus on, okay, where do you want your monthly mortgage payment? And then we make a reality conversation of how that translates into what your purchase price will be based on whether or not you have down payment and what that looks like. So that's how we determine if it's affordable, coupled with you determining what's affordable to you.
All right. I was going to ask, and maybe you and Michael can add, because this is to add to that question. You both were mentioning about how you could possibly, Michael, I think you leaned on this about taking the North Carolina finance agencies portion. I know Wake County, when I was looking for a home, offered a down payment assistance. And then, Nicola, you mentioned PNC. Of course, these are two different financial institutions. So I'm curious from both perspectives. how does one, if there is a space to be able to lump those resources together for down payment assistance, because that is a major conversation for folks who are, we look at all types of housing. So whether it's rental homes, whether it's ADU spaces, whether it's multifamily, we have builders in this space, just being able to have all this information and dialogue would be good. So I guess how would someone who's transitioning from into be able to take those resources as well, and what programs? I know you mentioned them, but how? I guess is the better question.
Well, most programs are stackable, right? If that's what you're talking about, being able to take, and I see one of the questions in here, from Sam Hunter, are there any challenges you experience when the local government is providing financial assistance on city-owned property that may muddy the waters when navigating through closing? All these different programs that we're talking about regardless has their own set of underwriting guidelines, right? So, as you stack those programs, we have to ensure that the client qualifies for each of those programs. And depending, some programs go by household income, some programs go by individual qualification income. So, that's really the critical role that a mortgage professional plays, is to ensure that you understand, not only that you understand the requirements of the program, but that you have a professional that can navigate through it with you, so that you don't get any surprises at the closing table. But to answer your question, we regularly stack loan programs, and it can be material. I mean, for example, the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency CPLP program is I can't remember if it's $50,000 or $60,000 now, right? And then you take a local municipal down payment assistance program like City of Greensboro, which is $10,000, and then Pinnacle Financial or PNC's grant on top of that, ours goes up to $15,000 or 4.5% of the purchase price of the home. So when you start layering in those type of programs together, you can make a significant and material impact on the affordability of that housing to the client. That's what I was talking about. There's more solutions like that today than there ever have been in the industry. Now, big asterisks. And to kind of answer maybe Sam, and I'm not even sure, Mr. Hunter, if this is the question you were asking or not, but anything, I mean, for me as a professional lender, you talk about, opening up the dialogue of from a legislative perspective and things of that nature that could benefit home ownership. And I mean, it's a complicated question. And I serve on the board of Housing Consultants Group, which manages the City of Greensboro's down payment assistance program. And we recently had a meeting on this. It's how do you streamline that, right? Because it can be I don't want to say a barrier to entry, but that's complicated. Each one of those programs that you stack on top of each other, number one, you're reducing the number of professionals out there that understand or can do that effectively, because not everybody can do that. But once you do it, any way to streamline that process would be helpful. But sometimes it's complicated because you're dealing with federal funds, maybe funding those grants or those down payment assistance programs versus a local municipality versus, state agency. So not all of the requirements for that funding are the same. So yeah, it can get a little complicated, but it's definitely doable. We do it every day.
Thank you. Nicola, did you want to offer or anything to add to Michael's statement, or are you okay?
No, actually, I was going to second what he's saying, is that the unique underwriting criteria for the specific program could impact which of those programs you can layer. But to Mike's point, we know the ins and outs of all of them and which ones will work together. And it's our responsibility to make sure that we're exploring the best options for our home buyers.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a couple more questions. Y'all keep throwing them. I'm trying to make sure I get to all of them. Connor wrote, I'm interested in some of the difficulties in financing. I know we mentioned this about new developments that are trying to take advantage of reforms like Denzel mentioned, ADU flexibilities, parking lot minimum, missing middle. I guess that would also tie into Jen Truman's question. And I know we mentioned that most of the financing that you all deal with is on the personal side, not so much the commercial development side. But I guess this one probably will tie into Jen's statement or question. Can any of these programs be used for second and third refinance for ADUs or additional dwelling units on primary residence? Because that is directly connected to some policy work that we are pushing. So out of curiosity.
Mike, you want to take that one? That's a fun one.
I know that was a complicated one. Yeah, I mean, accessory dwelling units, you know, in our world is allowable feature type, but as it relates to commercial development, that would be out of my area of expertise, you know, honestly, because, you know, to Nicola's point earlier, we're residential mortgage professionals. That's, you know, space we spend most of our time in. And we are starting to see an increase in the frequency of primary residences that have an accessory dwelling unit. And the agencies and these programs do have flexibility. They do have most of the programs out there today have some underwriting policies written around there where you can actually have ADUs on the property today.
If I can take Jen's question in terms of how do you finance building an ADU, PNC offers a home equity line of credit. The ADU is going to be on the same property and deeded in the same tract as the primary residence. So what we would really do is take a home equity line of credit based on the equity that the primary residence holds, and the homeowner can use that to finance building the ADU or virtually anything else that they have. But we don't have specific financing for that unique piece of property that they're looking to add.
All right. I'm looking at some of these questions. I want to make sure we frame the folks that we have here today don't particularly focus specifically on commercial side. We'll bring those folks in after this. We want to start off with kind of what is available for those in the lending community that need or looking to get into homes from that vantage point. So I see some of these questions. I think, Sam, you asked this question about, are there any challenges you experience with local government in providing financial assistance or city-owned property that be muddy the waters when navigating through closing? That sounds like a viable question to personal real estate question. Did you get that one, or you want to read it again?
Yeah, can you add some nuance to the question specifically? I'm not sure.
Samuel, do you want to come off mute and kind of add some nuance to your question? Feel free.
Yeah, no problem. First, thanks for having me. And I think you all answered my question when you were talking about it previously. Just talking about there's a number of different challenges, especially when you're using different funding sources. So each case has its own unique challenge. So I think you all answered it. So I'm good.
All right. I thank you. I saw Nina put in about HUD certified housing counseling. Agencies can help buyers think through and choose the best funding options based on individual situations, and place that in there. I guess that is all. I saw Jen's statement. I take it as a note that there needs to be more around commercial lending. We'll bring those folks in on the next one. I guess at this point, is there any other questions related to said subject for these experts in that arena? If not, I'm going to go ahead and probably bring it around. All right. Well, is there anything else, Michael or Nicola, you want folks to know? I greatly appreciate you all for lending us your time. I'm very interested. And like I said, for those who are in the group, we are doing dinner and policy conversations. They're kind of like select. We only have certain people there. I'm hoping I can get Michael and maybe Nicola to come and sit in that space with some of the folks on the personal as well as the commercial real estate side. And we can have a more robust conversation in that setting that we've been filming. But is there anything at this point or this juncture that you feel like folks, you want to leave some talking points? I didn't know about the stackable piece, which is important. Definitely want to make sure I inform the legislative community when we go back, and maybe I'll probably reach out to you both offline about how can I get some more information that we can show, and then also maybe what the whole community, and also if there are any other tables tables or spaces where these conversations are happening, we definitely want to be a partner in that. So I guess since Nicola went first, I'll turn it to you, Michael, and then I'll let Nicola go ahead and go.
Well, thanks so much, and I just wanted to, finish the way I started with. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and speak with you today. If I can be a resource of any kind, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And it is, and I know Nicola's going to echo the same thing, and she mentioned this at the top of her. The commitment that financial institutions, whether it's Pinnacle, whether it's PNC, whether any of the financial institutions inside our state, there is a sharper focus than I've ever seen on supporting the affordable housing initiatives across our state, and there's a wealth of products and opportunities available to everybody. And step one is just reaching out to a professional and understanding what those are. So if we can ever be of assistance to you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Nicola, do you have anything you want to add before we close?
Yes, thank you. Again, thank you for having us join today, just to get that information out around what we can offer to your clients, your community around affordable lending. Visit the PNC online banking. I can share my QR code again, that there are really a lot of resources there for whether it's residential or commercial. There are links there that will answer some of the questions specifically around what PNC has to offer, even in the commercial space, and direct you to a commercial banker. But for any first-time home buyer or someone looking in the affordable space, play with those calculators and tools, because a lot of times people they're not so comfortable reaching out to a loan originator yet, but they want to kind of feel around and see if this is something they're even able to do. And there's excellent resources on the website. If there's anything I can help any of you with, or any questions offline, don't hesitate to reach out.
I have
Thanks,
one
Denzel.
question for both of you just before we leave. Does one have to have a already established banking relationship? I guess that should be in press, because that's sometimes a barrier. Do I need to have a personal bank account, or is this separate before you all qualify? Just out of curiosity.
There are no requirements for you
Okay.
to have an established banking relationship with PNC to do a mortgage.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and Denzel, I was going to say, kind of a thing. One of the biggest barriers is, just beginning the process, right? And people have and that's where the education process comes into it, because people have such a, I certainly did before I ever was a homeowner, right? I used to think, even before I got in the industry, that I had to have 20% to put down on a home, right? When I got out of college, that was me. That was my personal experience, right? So, step one is just, the willingness to connect. And so obviously there's no requirement other than just give us a call. We'd love to help you.
Appreciate you. Well, I thank you folks for both. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Nicola. I definitely look forward to following up with you all. We have an event at the end of the year. I hope I can get you both in the room as we'll be celebrating our 1-year anniversary in November in Raleigh. To everyone who's here, I thank you all for being here. I'm just going to ask when you leave, if you could, it'd be great if you could follow us on Instagram, follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Facebook or YouTube. This presentation will also be uploaded in segments so folks can maybe go back and get the information, and we'll try to make sure the next time we bring in some more commercial folks as we go through this whole banking series now marching towards the end of the year. I am the executive director and founder of the North Carolina Housing Table, and I'm so grateful to have everybody here to support us, and thank you for being here. And we are closing this room. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, and we'll make sure we have all of our contacts for you. Thank you all.